you face much more than you would be just listed in the home exchange.
I frame it very, very differently than, thank you for your question, but I frame it very differently than that because, you know, we just wouldn't be here if we didn't get access to the U.S. capital markets. We, you know, I mean, we got our support from the U.S., really. I mean, we IPO'd in Canada, but, I mean, our fans were few and far between and at that time. And it's interesting because, you know, for me personally at that time, you know, you get edgier, you get defensive, and maybe even get more arrogant about it. And then when all of a sudden people support you and you get funding and they're rooting you on, you catch stride. And so you know, when people were saying, my fans were saying, you gotta be more likable. And it's kind of like, I go, you know, and I go, yeah, maybe you're right, but then, you know, what part of it's that, and what part of it's the undercutting, and the people trying, you know, shorten you and trying to get you to just sell the company. So there wasn't, you know, there wasn't a strong culture of, in the financial world of, you know, bring it on. A lot of trading, a lot of low value stuff, a lot of get in, get out, a lot of shorting, and all that kind of stuff. And so once we got, and thank goodness for MJDS, because that allowed with the OSC that we pre-cleared the requirements there, and we just had limitless access to capital and support. So it was really quite fortuitous for us. There's no chance we would have got to where we would have got to had we not had access to the resources and the analytic support. And it all ebbs and tides, and there was a tech meltdown through that, but nonetheless, we powered through that, and we funded it ahead of that, and allowed us to invest through that, the tech, the capital squeeze years after 2000 for those 3 or whatever years. So it was really, really important. I also think be careful on the math because, you know, as Einstein said, the most powerful force in the world is the formula for compounding. You know, one successful company makes up for the losses of 100 unsuccessful companies because the numbers go big. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, all those companies that lost, you know, pick a number. Like, I mean, I don't want to play too much math here, but if you had 100 companies get $50 million, that's you know, $5 billion. And you look at, you know, when we raised our money, and let's say we sort of had, you know, $1 billion valuation when we did our U.S. offering, or we did our Canadian IPO, we had $100 million. You know, one sort of $40 billion gain makes up for the $5 billion gain. You understand? So you got to make sure, don't be careful of, you know, the optionality of going up in bigger numbers. You gum up it's asymmetrical, but if you just weight them all the same, it's misleading. Do you know what I'm saying on the financing thing? It doesn't take a lot of, not saying playing look at me, but it doesn't take a lot of rim-type math stories to completely blow the numbers to the favorable. And that's why they just keep playing bets, right? You know, you've got a 1 in 10 chance of 9 out of 10 times you make money, but 1 out of 10 times you make a lot of money, and as long as you stay with it. But if you trade out of it so quick and you lose confidence and you don't have a fundamental strategic view of the world, you get all the costs of losing and a small percentage of the benefits of winning. And I could tell you some amazing stories of companies just stepping out, and then as we got hot and got indexed, they had to step back in because they were misperforming. And it's just, you're just constantly being whipsawed on the wrong side, absent having a strategic view of what you think is going to play. And so, you know, it's tricky, but it's been, we wouldn't be where we are today absent that MJDS. There's no chance. We were able to fund when we couldn't have got funded other ways. You know. Is there any students? We got what kind of? You've got some doctoral students here. What are the doctoral students studying? Who's doing a PhD here? You've got somebody there.
If nobody else is asking, so
that's very modest.
Another one of our professors.
Yeah. Actually, Andre and I are working on how companies balance their exploration and exploitation. means new products versus making money off the old products or their current products. And so we were wondering if BlackBerry, for example, is going to make money for you for 30 years. So when do you start exploring for a new product? After 15 years or any other?
Well, I
any
mean,
ideas?
it's really a continuum. So, I mean, our, our exploration, or our investment and expansion stuff is just a continuum, and it's a continuum of getting to that sweet, lush part of the field where everything grows so easy and tall, and so, it's a continuum, and there isn't really an end game, and there isn't really that much of, that hard step function in my experience. Obviously at an entry point for an entrepreneur there's like, we got to step into this. But if you get the good spot, then it's just riding it and navigating it, because it's a lot more about, holding on than it is about driving it. And there's a lot of shots coming in from every which way as it's going on. So you got to sort of, withstand all that could be at play. But I see it more in process and evolution than in just hard core decisions so far. But I'm just reflecting my experiences. I'm a data point, I guess, and maybe there's other data points, I don't know. You'll have to, but take us as that data point. I don't want to generalize too much, who we are and what we do, but that's kind of what we're experiencing so far. You're welcome. The students got to be here.
I guess we can take one from the back. And then
Is it press? Oh, okay, sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you said your dad was born in Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Would he like to see the Coyotes come home?
See?
I kept looking in the middle here.
One question like that,
I do not have a PhD.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Don't be shy. Come on. We got our time here. Guys, you're killing me.
My name is Matt. I'm an undergrad student here.
Hey, man. Where are you from?
From Winnipeg.
Great.
Studying accounting. But I was wondering kind of,
I did a CA. I did a CA.
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering how you stay innovative and how you kind of manage creativity in an organization that is pretty creative with its products.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike, my partner, is very creative technically and in the business. It's a good question. How do you stay innovative and how do you stay creative? And I put in how do you grow and all that kind of stuff. I think the answer lies a lot more in process than you think. I think, a couple maxims that I have, are whatever impact you think leadership has in an organization, the only question is, do you underestimate it by 1 order of magnitude or by 2 orders of magnitude? It really matters more than you realize. And so, how do you lay, an environment that celebrates, and rewards and treasures innovation and creativity? And so, I think you have to be innovative. I think you have to be creative. I think you have to espouse you can't be incompatible in how you live and behave and what you expect the organization. That harmony has to be there. That integrity has to be there. I think the process, we do a lot of visibility and transparency. I pay a lot of attention. My view is good people with their head on straight that are reasonably smart will come to the same conclusions essentially 100% of the time, given the same set of facts, and virtually all disagreements come from gaps in facts and gaps in the capacity to interpret those facts, especially when you surprise people, because when you surprise them, they'll just take it and put a negative lens on it and go to their most paranoid worst case scenario. So if you can, just create lots of visibility, lots of transparency, and we have a couple little secrets when we do it. I'll let you in on the secret. It's like, feed people. They love like pizza and salad and pop. It's like they'll come out of the woodwork.
I'm taking this down.
They'll come out of the woodwork. Feed them. Feed them.